Hey guys, Maven here. Now, the Royal Rumble is one of the WWE's biggest events each and every year, and I've competed in a few of them, so this video is going to be all about that. We're going to talk about how the match gets put together. I'm going to lay out some secrets of the Rumble and talk about how the WWE pulls the match off seamlessly each and every year. So planning for the Royal Rumble actually starts a little bit before you probably think it does. It starts after SummerSlam. Now, why is this? Because in essence, all you're planning for is your following year's WrestleMania. And since the winner of the Rumble punches their ticket to the main event of WrestleMania, you're planning that out months in advance. So the first thing you need to figure out when planning the Rumble is who is going to be competing for the world title at WrestleMania. Once you have that figured out, then you start working backwards, because the winner of the Rumble is going to be a headliner at WrestleMania. Once you know who is going to be in that match, then you can start working the Rumble out and the order of all 30 competitors. What makes it interesting is each and every year finding new ways to get to that one person. It might be like in 1995 when Shawn Michaels entered #1 and was victorious, or it might be like in 2023 when Cody Rhodes entered number 30 and found himself with his hand raised. The beauty of this match is you never know what position the winner is going to come from. Now, the Royal Rumble was easily the most complex match of the year, and during my time, this was the only match that we would actually physically get handed a script, or as we called it, a run sheet. And the run sheet might be 15 pages long. So what would a run sheet for the Royal Rumble look like? Well, that's what I'm here for. I'm going to show you what information a wrestler might be given and what they look for before they enter this match. So when each wrestler gets their run sheet, what's the first thing they're looking for? Well, obviously, they're looking for what number, what order they're coming into the Rumble. For instance, I might be coming in, let's say, number 11. And it might say something like, Maven enters. Now, once I see that I'm coming in at number 11, I know when my spot in the Rumble is going to begin. But is that all the information they're giving me? No, it is not, because more things are happening than just my entrance. Obviously, I'm coming in at number 11, Maven enters, and then let's say Hurricane's already in there. And again, this is all made up, fictitious. Could be Maven enters at the 11th spot. But while I'm entering, Hurricane is doing his superhero pose and eliminating Rene Dupree. So I'm coming in at number 11, but obviously Hurricane and Rene, they have been in through spots 1 through 10. So this run sheet obviously tells me when I'm coming in, but keeps the action going. So what would happen next? Well, let's jump straight to number 12. So let's say in number 12 spot, Edge is entering, and he enters hot. Edge enters and spears Regal. And during this time, Kane eliminates Hurricane. So obviously, what do we know from this run sheet? Well, we know since Edge is coming in at the number 12 spot and immediately spears Regal, Kane is eliminating the Hurricane. So that tells me that both Regal and Kane were also in that 1 through 10 spot. They've been in the match. And with Hurricane gone, who is next? And I know what you're saying. What am I doing during this time? I'm going to actually get to that in a little bit. For number 13, number 13. Let's say the writers have a sense of humor that day, and Taz enters and clotheslines Christian. You have Taz entering at number 13. He clotheslines Christian. Everybody wants to see Edge and Christian together. The Office knows this. So they have Edge making the save. Both of those two pose. And then after they get their big pop, they both eliminate Taz. And for spot 14, this is when I am going to be back into the mix. For entry number 14, let's say Test enters and gives big boot to Spike. Maven eliminates Sly and is immediately thrown out by Kane. Once Taz enters and clotheslines Christian, and obviously everyone wants to see Edge and Christian to get together, so Edge and Christian get together and then both eliminate Taz. In spot 14, then we have Test entering and gives a big boot to Spike. Now this is when I'm going to come back into the mix, and catching Sly, Sylvain Grenier, maybe I go over and eliminate him. And immediately, once that happens, then I'm thrown out by Kane. What you might be wondering is, I go in at spot 11, I'm coming out at spot 14. What am I doing in between, that whole time? There's nothing written for me. So how am I making my presence known without getting in the way for everything that's going on during the rest of the match? Well, what you're actually doing is you're watching and obviously listening and keeping out of everyone else's way. Maybe I'm over and I'm working with Sly. Maybe each of us are trying to hoist the other over the top rope and it looks like we're really struggling. Maybe we're just going back and forth giving each other's punches. All we're doing the whole time is staying out of everyone's way and waiting for the time when we're coming back into the match. And a big no-no during this time is you do not want to be in someone's way. You don't want to interfere with a spot that someone's running, and you definitely don't want to be the reason why an elimination doesn't take place. I promise you that. So unless you see your name anywhere around here, your only job is to stay in the background and not get in anyone's way. One of the good things about being in a Royal Rumble is you can actually communicate a lot easier. Because if the action's not on you, if Edge and Christian are posing and the crowd is reacting to that, well, I can talk a whole lot easier without the fear of a camera picking it up or someone in the front row picking it up, because their attention is on somewhere else. But even still, even though communication is a little bit easier, you still don't want to overdo it. You're still not talking at a normal level like I'm doing here. You're still leaning over, you're still bending down, you're still utilizing hair if you have any. You're still staying in character the entire time. Another trick that helps a Rumble flow seamlessly is the use of the refs on the outside. So the refs are obviously constantly wearing their IFBs. So when your elimination time is coming up, they might make their way around and they might give you the Iggy. They might squeeze your leg, or they might yell at you, or they might in any way get your attention so you know to be ready for your elimination, which is coming up shortly. But this is live TV, and the unexpected sometimes does happen. So what do? How do you cover it up? Let's use my example, for instance. I'm supposed to be eliminated by Kane here, but let's say he accidentally, prematurely gets eliminated earlier than that. What am I gonna do? As long as I know that when my spot comes up, maybe I grab someone else and maybe I throw a couple punches, tell him to duck, and then I position myself against the ring and then clothesline me out. As long as I'm doing my job and going out during my time, everything will be fine. It's not a free-for-all. I can't go backstage and say, well, Kane wasn't there to eliminate me, so I stayed 5 more slots down. No, absolutely not. I know I go in 11, my spot to go out is number 14. You bet anyway I'm gonna go out when it's my time. But everyone's professionals. Most everyone, every time I was there, they were doing exactly what they were told to, and they made it flow super smooth. The one thing that is synonymous with every Rumble is the clock. Now, the clock can play to your advantage, but it also can play to your disadvantage, because knowing that the countdown is coming and you all hear it, and we actually hear it in the arena as well, you don't want to be having an elimination take place as someone is coming out, because everybody wants to see who is coming out, who that next person up is going to be. You don't want their attention to be in the ring watching an elimination when they should be watching the curtain and listening for music. Can you get in trouble during a Rumble? Well, actually you can. And I will give you an example of that. Take the Paul London incident from 2005. I don't remember what the run sheet looked like. I guarantee you it said something like, Paul London eliminated by Gene Snitsky. Paul, obviously wanting to have his Royal Rumble moment, made it the best elimination of the entire night. And if you remember that spot, you remember that crazy flip he took. And Paul actually got some heat. He got in trouble once he got backstage. Now, why did he get in trouble? Because people thought he was showing up others in the match, when all he was doing was showing his athleticism and showing exactly how good of a bump he could take, and making Gene look pretty damn powerful in the process of it. That's how you can get in trouble for even being eliminated during the Rumble. So the takeaway from all of that is, unless it says it, and it might be something like this: Paul eliminated by Snitsky with big clothesline, and they might go out of their way to highlight the word big to the point to where they might even underline it. They want you to know that this is one of the biggest bumps. This is one of the biggest spots of the night. Paul's mistake that night wasn't taking the bump. Paul's mistake wasn't reading the run sheet wrong. Paul's mistake was taking it upon himself to actually show how athletic he was. So, unless you see it on the run sheet in big letters, or unless an agent tells you, keep it simple. If it tells you to take a clothesline, just take a clothesline, or you might find yourself like Paul London, in trouble and with heat. Now, during the 2002 Royal Rumble, it ended with me going through a popcorn machine. To find out the secret of how we pulled that off, click the video.